Got my tea out here, a couple other things, some gloves, and my book. So let me get you guys situated. Or actually, let me turn you guys this way so that way you can see outside. And I'm back. All right. I can see all of you. You can see all of me. Very good. Gloves. I'm gonna put a little bit of tea inside my gloves. It's just so you don't. If you have a nervous tick and you have a little bit of water inside your gloves, it helps so much. And I learned that trick yesterday. Gloves are on. So let's recap. Yesterday we read about Clooney. He's the villain. And he's got a right hand man and he's got a bunch of followers. And he rides around on horseback or a carriage when he wants to. Then we have the Abbey. Hell yes, Yvonne! Blue cool tree, what's good? I actually, it helps with turning the pages because sometimes you have to like lick your finger and then turn the page. Don't really have to with rubber gloves, they kind of just stick to things. I was just recapping, Simon, on what we went over yesterday. And I had just gotten up to the point where we were about to talk about Abbott Mortimer and Matthias. And Matthias is the scoundrel of a youth, and he was tripping over the cobblestones and spilled his hazelnuts everywhere. And that's when he ran into Abbott Mortimer. They talked for a bit. They saw a tapestry, talked some more. They talked the brother Alf we met, and he took Matthias fishing for a big fish. I do. Do I have a dish? I have a dish. I can make them soapy, just so you guys can see. One sec. Let me have some tea first. Ah. Okay. Chat. I'll be right back. We're about to wash a dish on stream. We got a pan. It's all good. Blue Cool Tree, it is cool to do stuff on stream. And I just like reading, but it's more of an outlet to just talk to people. So you can interrupt me. We haven't even gotten started. I was just recapping. Water, not soapy, but there's lots of soap in it. So give me a second. I feel like you can't see the amount of bubbles I got up in here. This pan was pretty clean, so we don't have to do too much with it. We can leave this out here, just something to do when we get bored. I brought some towels to dry my hands with. A nervous thing that we can do, maybe between every chapter, we'll just wash our hands. And we got, I want to read to chapter 8 today. We're on chapter 4 right now. The chapters are pretty short, they're about 1 page each. Soapy indeed. I'm going to pop one of those bubbles. No need to apologize. You guys want to see my my daughter? She's right here. Say hello, baby. Meow, meow, meow. I'm disturbing the spiders that use this thing I have out here. What did I do with chat? Oh, there we go. Okay, and so we had just gotten to the part where Brother Alf, he went to go fishing with Matthias, and Matthias and him, they caught a big fish, a grayling. And then we met Friar Hugo, who was very impressed with their catch, and he cooked it up for everyone in the abbey, and they had a big feast. A late summer feast, something along those lines, like a red summer. We learned that Clooney was going on horseback and heading towards the abbey. And lastly, we finished with the abbey singing a song, passing around drinks. We met 2 twins, and that was about it. There's a spider crawling on my phone right now. I can't stop watching it. Alright, chat, let me drink some tea. Alright, let's get into character. We're talking about Clooney, chapter 4. Clooney was in a foul temper. He snarled viciously. The horse had stopped from sheer exhaustion. He hadn't wanted that. Some inner devil persuaded him that he had not yet reached his destination. Clooney's one eye slitted evilly. From the depths of the hay cart, the rodents of the warlord's army watched their their master. I have a godmother, and she went through divorce. And she raised me. Like, I would go over her house every day after school, and I would sit there and I'd eat their food, and I'd play video games with their son, and I'd hang out and watch their daughter, like, as a babysitter. And they fought in front of us, but I never got involved. I never said anything to, like, say, you shouldn't say that to them, or you shouldn't do that. things worked out, but it was very tough. They split up for a while. They didn't want to see each other for a bit. They were both paying for the same mortgage still. Things were very tight with money. Let me drink some tea, chat. Excuse me. What about you, Sven? Sivan? Sven? Blue, cool tree? Have you ever had parents that argue? I'm dealing with a friend right now that, if anyone is, getting back together isn't always the answer, I will say. But talking things out is almost always the solution to figuring out what's going wrong in a relationship. You just need to talk sometimes. And fighting is talking, just at an elevated volume. So I'm going to bring down the volume. And we're going to finish the rest of Clooney, chapter 4, at a lower, just a lower volume. And watch their master. They knew him well enough to stay clear of the present mood. He was violent, unpredictable. Skull face, Clooney snapped. There was a rustle in the hay. A villainous head popped out. Hey, Chief, do you want me? Clooney's powerful tail shot out and dragged the unfortunate forward. Skullface cringed, and sharp, dirty fangs dug into his fur. Clooney nodded at the horse. Jump on that thing's back, sharpish. Give it a good bite. He's talking about the horse. My parents are still together, my biological ones, but my godmother and her husband, her original husband, are not. But my surrogate brother, their parents are together. So we all kind of like, it pushed through all of us on the neighborhood. There was a block of us, just some kids that would get together and hang out. And some parents were married, some weren't, some could have kids, some couldn't. Can I give you a good strategy? Some way to cope with anger. I count backwards from 100 by sevens. So you breathe in, 100, and out, 100, and then you say 93. And whatever you want to do for your next breath of air, do that. Take your time. See what you want to get to with your next number. Think about what is that -7 from 93. And hold on to that. But don't actually do that addition or subtraction yet until you're ready to calm down. And do that little bit of math. Become a calculator for yourself. Hey, Chief, do you want me? Clooney's powerful tail shot out and dragged the unfortunate forward. Skullface grinned as a sharp pretty claw dug into his fur. Clooney nodded at the horse. Jump on that thing's back, sharpish. Give it a good bite. That'll get the laser brute moving again. Skullface swallowed nervously and licked his dry lips. But, the chief, it might bite me back. Swish. Crack. Clooney wielding his mighty tail as if it were a bullwhip. His victim screamed aloud in pain as the scourge lashed at his bony back. Mutiny! Insubordination! Clooney roared. By the teeth of hell, I'll flay you into many mangy, dull rags. Skullface scurried over to the driver's seat, yelling with pain, "No more! Don't whip me! Chief, look, Chief! I'm gonna do it!" Hold right on to that thing back there, Clooney shouted to his horde. Skullface performed a frantic leap. He landed on this horse's back. The terrified animal did not wait for the rat to bite. As soon as it felt the loathsome, scratching weight descend on its exposed haunches, it gave a loud, panicked, whiny sound and bucked. Whinny. Oh, not whiny, whinny. Skullface had for just one agonized scream before he fell. The iron shod cart wheels rolled over him. Crunch. He lay in a red mist of death, the life ebbing from his broken body. The last thing he saw before darkness claimed him was the snickering visage of Clooney, the scourge, roaring from the jolting backboard. "Tell the devil! Clooney sent you, Skullface." And they were on the move again. Clooney was getting nearer. So, Clooney told a subordinate to jump on a horse's back in that last chapter. And the subordinate did, Skullface, and he got his. Yep, handed to him. Let's drink some tea. And let's wash some dishes. There's soaps. You see the bubbles? It's pointless. The pan is already clean. But it helps. It's something to do. And if you ever need something to do, maybe when your parents are fighting, then just sit back and do the dishes. And don't say a word, because they're not going to stop you from doing the dishes. They really shouldn't. Like, at least he's doing the dishes, you know what I mean? Especially if maybe your dad is the only one that cooks and he works too. And maybe the only one that works in the house. That's a tough position to be in. Unless you love doing it. But if you're working 14-hour days and you're expected to cook 3 meals a day too, that's challenging. Things take a team. Let me go check. I should have a sponge. Why don't you come with me, chat? My kitchen's pretty clean. It's not the cleanest, but it's pretty clean. Looking for a sponge. We have a washcloth. How about a washcloth? This is the state of the sink. Not the worst. There's food in there. I could clean it out better. But the kitchen, it looks presentable. Like I've been doing cooking. The bed's not made. We're not looking at the bed. But we got a washcloth. My daughter just scurried by. Not out here, but I saw her inside. I should have showed you guys. We'll do that next time. Every time we see Cake. Her name's Cake. She's a beauty. Blue Cool Tree. Everyone has to do the dishes. So this is cool to do. Thank you for asking. This is our washcloth. Doesn't smell bad. This spider is getting so mad that I actually have to tilt you guys up a little bit too. There we go. I think you should do the dishes every night. Favorite triggers? It's like if you make some food, you got a day in where the person I live with and I live to clean up after yourself. And we do a really good job about it. Now, if I don't take my meds, I'm forgiven because I've forgotten. But I take them every morning. I have today. Today is September 3rd. It's a Saturday. It's 2022. And it's a good day. I should start the stream with the date. I'll do that next time. Alright. Let's read one whole page. Down in Cavern Hole, the great feast had slackened off. So had lots of belts. So they just said the great feast hall had slackened off, and so had many belts because people were getting a little fat from when they were eating. Redwall mice and their guests sat back, replete. I don't know what that word means. There were still many great quantities of food uneaten. Abbot Mortimer whispered to Friar Hugo's ear, "Friar, sorry, that's not how you whisper. Friar, I want you to pack up a large sack with food, hazelnuts, cheese, bread, cakes, anything you can fit, and give it to Miss Churchmouse as secretly as you can without attracting attention." Poverty is an ugly specter. When a mouse wife has many mouths to feed as she does, and be sure that her husband doesn't suspect what you're doing. John Churchmouse may be poor, but he is also proud. He might not be... I fear he might not accept the gifts. All the men in my family are just like that. They're like, no charity for me. Hand to the face, just like, no. It's like, I live off Goodwill. That's where I get clothes. You don't have to be shamed. You should do stuff with your time. I'm trying. Hugo nodded knowingly and waddled off to the abbot's bidding. Cauliflower was the cute girl that Matthias had run into earlier. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about, chat? And Cauliflower and Matthias had become quite friendly. They were young mice of the same age, though their temperaments were different, and they found something in common as an interest in Tim and Tess, the two twin church mice. So Tim and Tess were twins, and they were church mice. Tim and Tess. TT. We'll call them the TTs. They had passed a pleasant evening, joking and playing games with the little creatures. Tess had clambered onto Matthias's lap and fallen asleep, whereupon baby Tim did likewise. Oh, in the velvety fur of cornflower. In the velvety fur of Cornflower, she smiled at Matthias as she stroked Tim's small head. Oh, bless their little paws. Excuse me, better voice. This is Cornfield's voice. Oh, bless their little paws. Matthias nodded, contentedly in agreement. Colin Vole tittered around aloud and remarked rather foolishly, "Ooh, would you look at that? Matthias and Cornfield there, and nursing two babies. It's like they was an old wedded couple. Will crumble my bank." Brother Alf reprimanded him sharply. Here now. You keep a latch on that silly tongue of yours. Colin Vile. Don't you know that someday Matthias will be a Redwall mouse? And don't let me hear you slandering young Cornfield. She's a decent mouse from a good family. Mark my words, Master Bull. I could say a thing or two to your mum. And Dad. Only last evening I saw you playing Catch the Burl Rush with that young harvest mouse. What was her name now? Colin Vole blushed with his until his nose went dry. Blushed until his nose went dry. He flounced off to swish his tail, muttering about going outside to take the air. Matthias caught a nod and a glance from the abbot, excusing himself to Cornfield. He deposited the sleeping Tess gently upon his chair and went across to him. Ah, Matthias, my son, here you are. Did you enjoy my jubilant feast? Yes, thank you, Father, Matthias replied. Good, good, chuckled the abbot. Now I was going to ask Brother Alf or Edmund to go on a special errand, but they're no longer young mice, and both look quite weary in this late hour. I thought I might ask my chief grayling catcher to carry out this special task for me. Matthias could not only help standing a bit taller. Say the word, I'm your mouse, sir. The abbot leaned forward and spoke confidently. You see the church mouse family? Well, it's such a long way back home for them on foot. Good heavens, there are so many of them. I thought it would be a splendid idea if you were to drive them home in the Abbey cart, along with any others going that way. Constant Badger would pull the cart, of course, while you would act as the guide and bodyguard. Take a good staff with you, Matthias. Bodyguard. Guarding a caravan. The abbot just. We'll cover this in. We'll cover this here. Sips tea. So Matthias just agreed to start driving people home. For some reason, the abbot wants people to be taken home quicker than normal instead of just walking, or it's just a good gesture. We don't know yet. Matthias is volunteering to do what the abbot is asking and said, for the good of the abbey, why not? So that's where we're at. Let's continue. Take a good stout staff with you, Matthias, the bodyguard. The young mouse needed no second biddings. Drawing himself up to his full height, he saluted in a smart military fashion. Leave it to me, Father Abbot. Old Constance is a bit slow thinking. I'll take complete responsibility. The abbot shook with silent laughter as he watched Matthias march off with a soldier-like swagger. Flip, flop, flip, flop. He tripped and fell flat on his tail. So, oh dear, the abbot says, after seeing Matthias fall on his tail. Sorry, chat. Sometimes I lose my place, and I'm working on that. So the abbot, Mortimer, says, oh dear, I'll have to get that young mouse some sandals that aren't so big. The abbot said to himself for a second time that day. Because remember, Abbot Mortimer earlier said, I'll have to talk to someone about getting information on how to fix the sandals. Alright. Moving on. Well, what a stroke of luck. Fancy Cauliflower's family living so close to the church mouse brood. Matthias was only too glad to offer them the lift home. Mm-hmm. Would Miss Cornflower like to sit next to him? She most certainly would. Cornflower's parents sat inside the cart, her mom helping Miss Churchmouse. Mrs. Miss. I'm so bad with this. Miss is if you're not married. Mrs. is if you're married. Mrs. if you're married. Mrs. someone. Miss. You're not married. Okay. Or you have your maiden name. Maybe not even that either. Just acronyms, whatever you want. You could use them or they. Cornflower's parents sat inside the cart. Her mom helping Mrs. Church Mouse as they shared a pipe of old Kraken Twist. So they're smoking together. I'm working on that, chat. I'm working on that. Cigarettes, man. They have my name. I'd recommend no one ever start them. I'm trying to get down to 2 a day. Today I smoked 3 cigarettes. And I'm not smoking anymore. The goal is to quit. It's financially so wasteful, and it's also like does nothing for your health. All right, let's keep reading. Friar Hugo came out and dumped a bully sack next to Mrs. Churchmouse. Abbott says thank you for the loan on the bowls and tablecloths mound, and that fat friar gave her a huge wink. All comfy back there, called Matthias. Right off we go, Constance, and Constance is the big badger, trundling the cart away as they called their good nights. She nodded at Methuselah, the ancient gatekeeper mouse. So a new character. As the cart rolled down, the cart rolled out into the road of silver moon. As the cart rolled down the road, a sliver of golden moonlight looked down from a star-perched summer night. The star-pierced summer night. Matthias gazed upward, feeling as if he were slowly turning with the silent earth. Peace was all about him. The baby mice inside the cart whimpered fitfully in their small secret dreams. Constance ambled slowly along as though she were on a nighttime stroll, pulling no weight at all. The stout ash staff lay forgotten at the foot. The stout ash staff lay forgotten on the footboard. Cornflower dozed as against Matthias's shoulder. She could hear the gentle lull of her father's voice and that of John Churchmouse blending with the hum of nocturnal insects. From the meadow and hedges of this balmy summer night, the summer of the late rose. Cornflower turned the words over in her mind, thinking of the old rambler that bloomed in the Abbey Guards. Normally, it was full of red. It was a full red flower by now, but this year, for some reason, it had shown to flower late. It was covered in a dormant young rosebud, even now, well into June, a thing that happened only infrequently and usually herald an extra long summer. Old Methuselah could only remember 3 other such summers in his long lifetime. According, he had advised that it be marked in the calendar and the Abbey Chronicles as the summer of the late rose. Cornflower's head sank lower, lower, into sleep. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the picture. It's cute. The old cart rolled on gently down the dusty road. They were now over halfway to the ruined church of Saint Ninon, where John Churchmouse lived, as had his father, grandfather, and great grandfather before him. Matthias had fallen into a deep slumber. Even Constance was unable to stop her eyelids from drooping. She went slower and slower. It was as if the little cart and its occupants were caught up in the magic spell of an enchanted summer night. I was just thinking this. Blue Cool Tree, if you're still in the chat, thank you for following. I didn't see that till yesterday. I don't get alerts on my phone, so if you guys follow while I'm reading, I won't see it, but I'll thank you the next day. Suddenly, and without warning, they were roused by a thunder of hooves. Nobody could determine the direction the sound was coming from. It seemed to be filling the air all around them. As it gathered momentum, the ground began to tremble with the rumbling noise. Some sixth sense warned Constance to get off the road and to a hiding place. The powerful badger, with a mighty heave, her long, blunt claws churned the roadside soil as she propelled the cart through the gap into the hawthorn hedge, down to the slope of a ditch where she dug her paws in, holding the cart still and secured, while John Constantine and Cornflower's Flower jumped out and wedged the wheels firmly with stones. Matthias gasped in shock as the giant horse galloped past, its mane streaming, eyes rolling in panic. It was towing a hay cart which bounded wildly from side to side. Matthias could see rats among the hay, but these were no ordinary rats. They were huge, ragged rodents, bigger than any he had ever seen. Their heavy tattooed arms waved a variety of weapons: pikes, knives, spears, and a long, rusty cutlass. Standing boldly on the backboard of the hay cart was the biggest, fiercest, most evil looking rat that ever slunk out of a nightmare. In one claw, he grasped a long pole from a ferret's head on a spike. In the other was his slick, enormous tail, which he used to crack like a whip. Laughing madly and yelling strange curses, he swayed to and fro skillfully as a horse and wagon clattered off into the night, and suddenly as they had come, they were gone. Matthias walked out onto the road, staff in hand. Stray wisp of hay drifted around him. His legs trembled uncontrollably. Constance hauled the Abbey cart back onto the road. Cauliflower was helping her mother and Miss Churchill, Miss Churchmouse, to calm the little one's tears of fright. Together, they stood in the cart tracks amid the settling dust. Did you see that? I saw it, but I don't want to believe it. What in heaven was it? What in hell more like it? All those rats. Such big ones, too. Aye. And that one was back. And that one on the back, he looked like the devil himself. Let me redo those voices. These are the mice speaking to each other. Did you see that? I saw it, but I don't want to believe it. What in heaven was it? What in hell more like it? All those rats. And such big ones. Aye. And that one on the back. He looked like the devil himself. Pink gloves. I do not. Seeing Matthias still stunned by what had happened, Constance took over the leadership. He wheeled the cart around. You think we'd best head for the Abbey? She said, firmly. Father Abbot will want to know more about this straight away. I think we'd best head back for the Abbey, she said. This is Constance talking. Not Cornflower, Constance. Constance is the badger. Cornflower's the lady that Matthias likes. Matthias. You guys are going to have to forgive me on the names. Alright, chat, we're about to wash another dish. I think we best head back to the Abbey, Constance said. Father Abbot, he'll want to know about this straight away. Knowing that the Badger was far more experienced than himself, Matthias assumed the role of second in command. Right, Cornflower, get in the cart and take charge of the mothers and babies. Mr. Fieldmice, Mr. Churchmouse, up front. And Constance, please. Silently, the mice did as ordered. The cart moved with Matthias positioned on the back, providing a rear guard. The young mouse gripped his staff tightly, his back to his charges, facing down the road in the direction of the hay cart had taken. We have 2 pages to go, chat, and then we'll have read 3 chapters. Our first title of the chapter, Fur and Fang. Chat, if my phone dies, I'm sorry. I had it pretty charged before I started this. The horse had gotten away safely. It was the hay cart that had suffered the most damage. Bolting recklessly from side to side along the road, the blink red animal failed to see the twin gateposts on the right. Skidding crazily, the cart smashed into the uprights. There, with a loud splintering of shafts, the course careened onwards, trailing in a wake, raining tracers and shattered timbers. His lightning reflexes served him well. Clooney... Oh, okay, let's reread that. Because we just got into where Clooney's at, and so I'll just explain it. Clooney just jumped off where the horse was riding to at the very last moment, and he did so super cool. And that's what we're talking about now, his lightning reflexes. That was a very complicated paragraph. Just having some tea. Clooney's lightning reflexes served him well. He leapt clear. He landed cat-like on all fours as the hay cart upended in the roadside ditch, its buck-led wheels spinning awkwardly. Feeling braced after his mad ride and subsequent narrow escape, Clooney strode to the ditch's edge. The distressed cries of those trapped beneath the cart reached his ears. He spat contemptuously, narrowing his good eye. Come on! Get up out of there! You think, you cringing lot of cat's meat? He bellowed. Red Tooth, Dark Claw, report to me, or I'll have your skulls for Skittles. Clooney's 2 entrants pulled themselves from the ditch, shaking their heads dazed. Slash. Crack. The whip-like tail brought them swiftly to his side. 3-leg And scratch her dead, Chief. Dead as the dirt, cart crushed him. Stupid fool, snarled Clumsy. Serves him right. What about the rest? They're counting their numbers of how many rats made it. Old Wormtail has lost a paw. And some of the others are really hurt. Clooney sneered. Ah, they'll all get over it and suffer. Worse by the time I'm done with them. They're getting too fat and sluggish by the traps. They'll not last 5 minutes in a storm at sea. Come on now, you dead and alive rag bags. Get up here and gather round. Rats struggled from the ditch in the cart, frantic to obey the harsh command as quickly as possible. They were crowded about the undamaged gatepost, with their leader had chosen as a perch. None dared to cry or complain about their hurts. No one would predict the mood of the warlord. No one would predict the mood the warlord was in. Chat, if my phone dies, I'm sorry. Goodbye now. I'm at like 3%, so see if we can finish this page. Right. Cock your lugs up and listen to me. First, we've got to find a way out of here. Let's take a bearing of this place. Redtooth held up a claw. The Church of Nanan. It says that on the notice board over yonder. Well, no matter, Clooney snapped. No matter. It'll do as birth until we find something better. Fangs burn. Cheese thief. Here, sir. Scout the area. See if you can find better lodging for us than this heap of rubble. Trail back to the west. I think we passed a big place on the way. Aye, aye, Chief. Frog's blood. Scum nose. Chief. Take 50 soldiers and see if you can round up any rats and know the lie of the land. Bring strong rats, but bring along weasels, stouts, and ferrets too. Will do at a pinch, mind now. Don't stand for arguments. Smash their dens up so they won't have any homes to worry about. If you refuse to join up, then kill them there and then. Understood? I need to get my Instagram back. I have an old Instagram, and I deleted my Facebook account, and it's still up. I don't remember what it is under. I haven't even been able to get back on it yet. It had about like 30 pictures on it. All me, just nothing crazy. My website has pictures that are on my Instagram. And that's a safe website. It takes a while to load because it's an Azure website and it does a lot of security checks. I'm not going to take any information, but if it's in my link, my bio. All right, the last paragraph. Take 50 soldiers and oh, already read that. And they'll do in a pinch, smash up their dens, and if they refuse to join up, kill them. Understood? All clear, Chief. Rag ear, mange fur. Take 20 rats and forge the supplies. The rest get alongside the church. Red tooth, dark claw. Check the armor. See if there are things that about we can use as weapons. Iron spikes, railings. There are usually enough of them around a church hall. Jump to it. Clooney has arrived. Oh, I'll show you guys the next one. Hell yeah. Let's do that. Blowing bubbles, chat. There we go, chat. A little of AMSMR. Just moving some water around the pan. Oops. I like that sound too. I like when somebody wraps their fingers on a book. If they got them at Home Depot, I'll pick them up. I gotta go pick up some charcoal anyways. We got a barbecue coming up. Long industrial gloves. What color? Pink? Hey, if they're not more than like $10, I'll buy them. Because these are like $4. So I imagine something that's like up to here in black. That would look cool. I'll look it up. Yeah, because it would have to be. Thank you. I like these. I could wear long sleeves. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll wear long sleeves tomorrow, like a dress shirt. And so the dress shirt will be under here, and so will like the jacket, and then this will go over it, and so it'll look like a full sleeve. That'll be what we do on Sundays. Sundays we'll full sleeve it up, so you can't see any skin at all. And we'll put some water in the gloves so we don't get overheated. That was a good reading today, though. So let's recap. The abbot, Mortimer, asked to send Constance, the badger, home with Matthias to take all of the church mouses home. And on their way home, they got passed up by a caravan or a running horse, dazed out of its mind, crazy, and a bunch of rats chilling on the back of a cart. I don't have them in black. These kinds, I could get these kinds in black. My mom, she likes to come over and she likes to cook for me, so these are for my mom. I don't actually use them too much. I do a pretty good job about cooking and cleaning on my own, but my mom likes to come over and take care of me sometimes and be like, you haven't been doing good enough or whatever. And she's like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm proud of you. And I'm just like, well, then why are you here? And she's like, I just want to see you. And I'm just like, all right, mother. Well, chat, I will leave you with this. Tomorrow, we will start by cleaning a pan and wearing these gloves. And we will finish by cleaning a pan and wearing these gloves. Let's see if I can draw. Little one. All right, chat. Toodaloo. It was a pleasure. Sivan, Blue Cool Tree. It was good to see you again. Thank you for stopping by. It meant a lot. Having someone to harass and just talk to and just spend your day with is very nice. Thank you. All right, chat. I'm going to take you out of here.